Hello everyone! Atelier Summer is finally here for July's event with a bunch of gorgeous swimsuit costumes. Resna is my favorite. She's always the cutest. I absolutely love her. For today's video, we're going to be doing something quite a bit different. I have not entered the game yet because there are a lot of updates here. Lots of changes to the gacha, lots of quality of life, lots of new updates, and we're just going to explore all of this together. So we'll do all of that and then I'll go through what I think about the characters. And yeah, let's just get started. We should have some new login bonuses as well, which is why we're starting from this screen, and probably a PV, maybe not, I don't know. Yeah, so we're gonna get the Atelier Summer PV just to start off with. I have seen this quite a few times already from the live stream and it's on their YouTube and stuff, but you can see all of the characters here. God, Resna's so cute. I love her. I actually don't really like Ryza's swimsuit that much. I think it's pretty boring, but Resna and Claudia are super cute. The first banner is Ryza and Resna, and the next one I assume will be Claudia and Valeria. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting about this event is that it's 40 days. So we don't actually know if they're planning a part 2 yet or not, because 40 days is a bit weird, because usually banners are 10 days long. And so far they've only shut off 2 banners worth of characters. But yeah, they're all really gorgeous. I love them. We also get some free memoria. Excited to look at what this does. And you can see that we have a new login bonus now. This will be for every single banner where we have this 5-day login bonus with 10 tickets at the end. So that's a new thing. Then we also have this login bonus. The normal one now has 500 gems at the end every 10 days. So this is an extra 1,500 gems a month. That's very, very nice. All right, we are now in the game. What are we gonna start with? There is so much to go through. Lots of presents, the memoria selector, a whole bunch of like, just so many things. Let's start by checking out the mail. We'll go to the gacha later. Yeah, tons of login bonuses. Look at all these gems. 3,000 gems. Back to the top. 300 gems. This is from a Roman tournament reward because they changed how the rewards for Roman tournament work. 100 gems. And then memoria. Nice memoria of Ryza eating an apple. They turned this artwork into a figure recently, so that's why they're handing this one out. Excited to see what that does. And just a bunch of other basic login bonus stuff. Okay, cool. All right, let's go to the shop first and get our tickets. And then we'll head to the gacha and look at all the changes there. So we have a few bundles. This one is 1,000 paid gems, and it comes with a memory fragment. It looks like it's probably, oh, there's 3 of them. So you can get 3 memory fragments if you want to do paid gems. I believe this is the first time that you've been able to purchase memory fragments, which is something I'm kind of surprised they haven't done before. But yeah, so, you know, if you want to buy memory fragments, it's still 3,000 paid gems for just 3, which is honestly pretty pricey. I definitely won't be doing that. And then this other one for free gems is not terrible cookie value. And we now have memoria in the Legend Metal shop. Does that mean you can only buy 1 at most? You can't buy 5? I think so. And these go away after the banner. So once the banner is gone, these memoria will swap out for the next banner, right? So these are very limited. That's what this means up here, this little badge. These are limited. You can only spark these during the banner. They're more expensive than character sparks. This is basically for whales only, right? Like, these are so expensive that as a free-to-play player, you're probably not going to want these over, say, you know, a character or something, right? They're just super pricey. And then we also have this shard here, which can select any of the base characters. And I believe this comes from completing some part of the main story, so it's very good for new players. Everyone will get one of these, I'm pretty sure. But that remains to be seen. I don't have it yet. I'm pretty excited for this because I don't have Ryza yet. She's the one character I'm still missing. And if somehow, you know, you're still missing some base pool characters when this update comes, it's your chance to pick them up. So very nice update there. The base pool characters are mostly kind of power crept nowadays, but if you're missing like Corneria or Logi or Raze or Ryza, you know, one of these like really solid characters, then yeah, really good chance to pick them up, right? And that might be in missions, actually, now that I think about it. Yep, that shard is right here from missions, so very nice little pickup there. And we have another memoria from the event, so we'll get 5 of these throughout the event as a nice Fierce in Ilmeria artwork. And it's what exactly does this do? I see. So it's skill damage for ice attribute characters and received damage reduced, received ice damage reduced, right? Or no, ice attribute characters receive less damage. Yeah, take reduced damage. Okay. Very interesting memoria. It'll be, we don't have the data mine yet. It'll be a while till we know what this does at rank 5 because it'll be many weeks until we can get 5 of them, or we wait for the data mine to come out. But there's actually some issues with data mining recently, so you might not have access to data mined info very much from now on. We'll have to see. New emblems, of course. The Roman tournament emblems have changed to be damage thresholds. So I got new emblems. That's cool. And let's go look at that other memoria that I was curious about, the Ryza one with the apple. I believe they're only giving out one of those, so it's kind of just for the art. They kind of do this sometimes, where the memoria they give out is they only give one copy of it, like this Puni one from Academy, and this one from the start of the game. They only give one copy of it, so the effect is basically completely worthless. But we can look at its stats real quick. Yeah, just very basic stats here. And it has an interesting effect where all Kuken Island characters get 14% skill damage. So that's actually kind of cool. And is that at rank 1? This might be a pretty good memoria. Kuken Island characters are any characters from the Ryza series. Even at rank 1, that seems kind of useful. We'll have to look into that a little more later. But that's a pretty high number for rank 1, that 14%. So seems quite good. Since I assume they aren't going to give us the ability to get this past rank 1. You can't use memory crystals on this type of memoria, so but yeah, not bad. All right, let's move on to the gacha, and then we will go to the event after. And there's a lot of cool new things in the gacha. For one, you'll be greeted with the upgraded tutorial gacha. So this is the one from when you started the game that guaranteed either Logi, Mew, Corneria, or Raze. And they've updated this, so now it gives you Mari, Ryza, or Resna. And this is honestly pretty good for the new player experience. 1 in 3 chance to get Ryza on your reroll is really, really good for a new player, or Bolt Resna. They're both great. Mari is, of course, really good for early content as well. While she is quite bad nowadays, she hasn't held up as well as either of the other two. She will do very good for your count at the start. So yeah, very good here. Ryza is a great like starter character for new players just in general, because as an attacker, she's not as good as the attackers nowadays, of course, but she still holds up well enough. She does very solid damage with her skill 2, which is great for getting through the main story, so very good there. And we'll see what we get, whether I have to use my shard on Ryza or if I get to save it. Picking up Ryza here would be pretty nice, because like I said before, she's the one character I'm still missing. And that is Resna. Alright. Resna loves me on this account. That's fine. We'll go ahead and use the shard on Ryza. I would have been pretty disappointed if that shard didn't exist and I missed the 1 in 3 on Ryza, but we have the shard, so it's fine. And next we have a step-up banner with a selector. So this is another selector like the one we had for characters previously, has the same pricing model where, you know, step 1 is 3,000, then you get the selector, then step 3, 4, then the selector. And this selector is for memoria, which is a pretty big deal. You can see all the memoria in it. It goes up to Ons and Claudia, so it has Academy and Rose series, which is pretty crazy, and you get 2 of them. And obviously there's some real standouts in here. There is, of course, the Zana Fish Memoria. There is the Academy Verona Memoria. There's the Strike Val Crit Damage Memoria. And there is our Masterpiece. So all of those really, really high quality Memoria, as well as the Halloween Memoria. Let's go on an outing. Very, very good. And there's also Ice Crit Damage as well, which isn't quite as useful as the one for Strike Valeria, but pretty good. There's just so many good Memoria, and it's really, really good to be able to select them, because you need to actually get the Memoria once to be able to use memory crystals on it, right? That's the important thing. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to buy this personally. It's a bit hard for me to justify that many paid gems for Memoria, but if I did, I would probably get Masterpiece and the fish. I probably wouldn't go for this one just because I don't have Roseval, and I wouldn't use memory crystals on it anyways, even if I did. But yeah, lots of really, really good Memoria in here. So Memoria Selector, very cool. For those of you that are interested or that may have missed out on good Memoria when doing pulls initially, very nice value there. And it's something to just like guarantee you have something worth it to use your memory crystals on. So if you save all of them up until this point because you didn't get any good Memoria, you'll absolutely be able to guarantee memory crystals here. And let's go on to the banner. We have Ryza and Resna. We don't have daily pulls anymore. They have been replaced by the tickets from those login bonuses and the extra gems from the login bonuses. And we have this new focus system. So you can choose a character here and it will increase their rates, a character or Memoria. So let's go look at the rates right now. I don't know if it'll update here. Actually, there we go. Wait, how does this even... Are you required to choose a focus? No, you shouldn't be, right? There's something weird about this. It doesn't say any rates right now. If I choose a focus, I'm sure it'll update. Which I will always focus Resna. And yeah. So Resna's 1%, and then the rest are split between 0.5%. And then it can tell me all the characters. So you can choose one character to be at 1%, which is pretty good. Much higher chance of getting the character you want. I specifically want Resna, so we'll focus her. And I assume I can change this as much as I want, yeah. But it didn't show the rates with the out focus, which I assumed was a thing you could do. So that's a little weird. But we're not going to do the pulls just yet. And of course we still have the Will Bell and Roman banner. We'll do the daily on that as well. But let's just go through the characters and Memoria real quick. So first Memoria, This one's actually Totri and Mimi in the art. This doesn't look very much like Totri to me, but guess it is. And this one is bolt break damage up, so bolt stun damage for Resna. She is a bolt breaker. Once again, like your breaker memorias, it's 31% for the attack stat, 6% for the speed stat. This is just super normal for breaker memorias, and once again, it's just not something that's really worth investing resources into, so not a particularly good memoria. And for this one, we have something a bit new. This is for ice weakness damage, skill damage plus 6%. When you're ice and attacking weakness, 65% skill damage. This is pretty high skill damage, but I would like to see this number higher because critical damage memorias go up to 85% without a weakness condition. I think 65% is a little lackluster with that condition. However, it is a speed memoria, so 11% speed with 23% attack and a decent amount of skill damage. There are definitely arguments for this one to be quite good if you need that speed. I still think it's probably not worth investing into over critical damage memorias or supporter memorias, because we do already have an ice critical damage memoria, but it's not bad. And let's go to the other gacha screen so they stop talking. For whatever reason, the step-up banner screen has a different video without all of the sound effects, so kind of easier to talk over. But yeah, we got some nice art with Izana not in a swimsuit. She's just wearing normal clothes. And Verona, very cute. We did not get the Izana swimsuit with this event. Everyone's very sad about it. But yeah, let's go over the characters. So first up, we have Ryza. Ryza is yet another ice attacker that no one asked for. She's like the 5th or 6th one, right? We have Vio, Rorona, Meru, Resna, Mari, and now Ryza. So she's the 6th ice attacker that no one asked for. We totally needed another one of these. Let's go. No one needs fire attackers or ice defenders or anything like that. Just more ice attackers. But anyways, what's up with her kit? Let's look at the gift first. Ice damage up. Completely useless. Alright. Yeah, nothing super interesting there. And we'll go over her leader skill. Her leader skill is actually... I don't really like it. It is 75% skill damage, which is a massive number, but it's only to enemies that are stunned. A lot of times nowadays, I don't even run breakers on JP, so, I'll run breakers like maybe a third to half the time. It really depends on the content, but there is a significant amount of content where I'm not running a breaker at all, so yeah, it really depends. It's for Kuken Island characters as well, which is basically only Ryza for an attacker, so. And Tao, I guess, but we don't care about him. But she has some pretty interesting stuff with her skills. She has this this skill lamp system, and I might need to go to the trial battle to show it off. I probably won't do that actually, but basically her skill 2 gets charges, and it starts with 2 charges at the start of battle, and whenever she uses a skill, it uses the charges. When your party uses an item, it'll get a charge back, and it gets bonuses based on how many charges it has. Thankfully, it starts the battle with 2 charges, so it's not a ramp skill. It's more like you use the skill and then you need to recharge it. So that's a good thing. If it was a ramp skill, she would be probably fairly weak. And then her other passive is when attacking a stunned enemy, plus 50% skill damage. So once again, stun as a condition nowadays is not super exciting like it used to be, because in old Resleri, enemies used to kind of just be stunned by default. You would always break them. Nowadays, not as common, but it's still a very nice damage boost when they are stunned. Her skill 1, it gives her a small magic attack buff for the next turn. I do wish buffs like this were actually permanent, and not just one turn. 15% is a pretty sizable buff. It's a very good magic attack buff for herself, but only being one turn is pretty rough. But if you skill one and then just wipe the field anyways, it's not like the one turn actually matters that much. And then she also gives 10% item gauge, which is not bad. This isn't really going to help you double stack items onto your attacker though, but it might enable you, it doesn't really enable you to do anything actually, I think. On your attacker, charging item gauge is pretty awkward. So yeah, it's kind of, there's not too many situations where that part will be useful, but item gauge charge is at least always okay, right? Her speed is fine, good magic attack. But yeah, her skill 2 has this skill lamp system, and I don't really fully understand how it works. I guess it only has an effect if she has 2 skill lamps, but basically, oh, you can even see the symbols for them right here. These will light up when she has them, so these are the lamps. You'll see them in battle. But yeah, so before attacking, she lowers ice resistance by 35%, and it is an area attack, so that's a very good debuff. It'll, help with her damage, it'll help with stunning, it'll help with, say, if you want to like Ryza into Christmas Reza or something like, or Ryza into New Year's Mario, like, very good debuff there. And if she has 2 skill lamps, this attack also gets penetration power, plus 100, and penetration power is a new stat. We don't really know exactly how it affects the damage yet because it is a new stat, but I'm pretty sure it interacts with the enemy defense. It remains to be seen how much damage this provides, so this will just require testing, and because of that I can't really judge the character. Depending on how good this penetration power stat is, will entirely decide on whether she's a good character at all. And her burst is basically the same. It doesn't rely on skill lamps, but it is an area attack with the standard amount of power, and it has 200 penetration power, so plus 200 penetration. And before attacking as well, she gives herself a 50% skill damage buff, which is permanent for the rest of the battle. So yeah, her character overall doesn't really have much going for it outside of this penetration stat. She is just an area attacker. She is just an area attacker that doesn't give herself critical rate or critical damage or anything like that. She doesn't have many damage multipliers on the skills, mostly just this ice resistance for skill 2, and then the skill damage for the burst, and it's all around this penetration stat. So I honestly cannot tell you how good she is. If she did not have the penetration, she would be terrible, like actually terrible. So it really depends on how much damage the penetration provides, and that just requires testing. Because it's a new stat, I can't know yet, but I will update in the future based on what other people say, or if I get her my own testing, and I'll just let you know. Because yeah, until we know how much damage penetration provides, we can't tell if she's good or not. But without the penetration, she's really bad. So the penetration better be pretty dang good to make her relevant and keep her competitive with other damage dealers, especially like Izana, right? So we'll see. I have high hopes for it, but it is a new stat. It might be undertuned for the first character with it. We'll just have to wait and see, right? But yeah, that's Ryza. And let's just move on to Resna. And I think Resna is really, really good. She has a really, really nice passive. She is a bolt breaker, so she is our 3rd bolt breaker, I believe. But she has a lot of things going for her that kind of help her be a useful breaker in the current meta, in my opinion. First, we'll look at her synth gift, because why not? And it is just generic break damage up, so not particularly great. And then her leader skill, which is burst skill, skill damage, break damage plus 75% for the seasonal group. So kind of interesting there. This is pretty good. Her kit is very burst focused, and you'll see why in just a minute. So burst skill, break damage is very nice. And then if you also, pair her with someone that wants to also burst to clear, like an AoE burst like Ryza, then 75% skill damage for that makes this a very strong leader skill. But yeah, let's go through her passives. This passive, very, very strong passive in my opinion. This is one of the strongest breaker passives we've seen so far. And it's when stunning an enemy, all allies get 20% magic attack for 1 turn. That is huge for a passive, right? 20% magic attack is quite a bit. Now, we do have other breakers. I think Leela even has a passive 15% magic attack. So 20% is just a bit higher than that, and it does require stunning an enemy, but it's still really strong. Just 20% is a lot for a passive. And then her other passive, now this one is really, really interesting. It's completely unlike anything we've seen on a character before. And this is why I think she's really strong. Basically, when the battle starts, all red panels on the timeline are turned into straw hat panels, I believe. I believe it's only red panels. But yeah, all red panels are turned into these straw hats. And what the straw hats do is that for enemies, they act like normal red panels. But for allies, they act like blue panels. But not only do they act like blue panels, they also give crit rate. So whenever an ally grabs a straw hat panel, all of your entire party gets 25% crit rate. I believe it's permanent. It's really, really, really good. So she basically acts as a crit support as long as you're able to get these straw hat panels, as well as being a breaker. And then the other big thing about this is that when Resna herself gets one of these straw hats, she can use her burst skill. So you don't need a burst panel for her to burst, you just need a red panel. Which is pretty crazy, and why her being a burst focused character is totally fine, because in a lot of timelines she will be able to burst early, which is very good. However, it must be noted that because of this, she ends up being a very highly timeline dependent character, so whether or not she's like super good very, very much depends on the timeline. And because we don't have random panels in the game anymore, I know it's been a long time since that update, but it has to be said, like, if the content doesn't have the panels for her, she gets a lot weaker, right? So she's really good when the timeline allows for it, and when it doesn't, she is a little bit weaker, but her kit is still very cool. I very like it. I like that there's no downside to this passive. Just completely removing red panels for yourself, very, very cool. And yeah, let's just get into the rest of her kit. So her skill 1 is kind of, it's a standard breaker skill 1. It's a stun damage steroid. So she will give herself 10% stun damage. This one's permanent, stacks up to 20. Then she will also give herself 20% stun damage, and this one is for 1 turn. So first time you use it, 30% stun damage. Pretty okay for a skill 1. We have better ones, but 30% is not bad. And then let's go to her skill 2. She is an area breaker, so area stun damage here. She has the standard before attacking minus 25% bolt res, so that's pretty cool. This is pretty standard on area breakers nowadays, ever since Master Ryza, because Gary Ryza has it, Roman has it, now Resna has it. Like, it's basically on everyone. And then the other part of her skill is after attacking, plus 35% received critical damage to the enemy for 1 attack. This is kind of bad, and if she was a skill 2 focused breaker, she would feel pretty weak, because received critical damage is just a much worse debuff than received magical damage or received physical damage. And I've explained this before, but we may as well explain it again. First off, it doesn't scale with traits. Received magical damage and physical damage do scale with traits. There is a trait for that, so this one doesn't scale with traits, which on one hand is like whatever. Sometimes you just can't scale it with traits anyways because you need more stun damage traits, but when you have the opportunity to scale it with traits, that's really nice. So the fact that you don't have that option at all is pretty bad. But the other thing, and the reason why it's actually not good, is received critical damage is additive with your character's critical damage bonus instead of being a separate multiplier like received magical damage or received physical damage. So received critical damage ends up being a very small amount of damage compared to those other debuffs. So unless they have changed it since the last time I tested it, which I don't believe they have, but I could be wrong, yeah, received critical damage is just a terrible debuff. I may go retest it at some point just to make sure they haven't changed it. And when I do that, I'll let you know if they have changed it, but I kind of doubt they have. They do these random balance changes all the time though, like what they did with damage buff A, for example, where that got completely reworked without them telling us at some point, and it started affecting all sorts of things like memoria and passives that it had not in the past. So it's possible they changed it without telling us. Who knows? And then her burst. And I think her burst is pretty dang good, mostly because she can use it with the straw hats, but it's just in general like pretty strong. It is, once again, area break. Area break is pretty good because a lot of the time you can break like a small enemy, but you can't stun the boss, but you want the debuffs on everyone, right? So it being area kind of enables it to be good because it can stun a small enemy. You can get all of the when stunned bonuses from it, but you also get the debuff on the boss. So what it does is it gives a magical damage received debuff, and this is the actual good debuff, right? It's not critical damage this time, it's magic damage received. So for the reasons I mentioned, this one's much better. 30%, pretty solid. And then when stunning an enemy, she'll give your attacker plus 50% magic attack for one attack. So very huge magic attack debuff, kind of like Valentine's Eska, very similar to her. But it does require stunning the enemy. So if you're in a 1v1 situation against the boss, because it's AoE, it's probably not going to be stunning. But if you have fodder enemies, you can probably stun at least one of them and get this buff. If you can't stun anything with it, the skill is pretty lackluster, and there are many situations nowadays where you can't. Breakers are kind of awkward to use, but I'm pretty cautiously optimistic for this character. I love Resna in general. I hope I get her. I really like her hat. I like her swimsuit. And the straw hat thing is just so cool. In fact, let's go into the trial battle and see how it looks. And you can see here all these little hats on all the characters. And she gave Izana 25% crit rate, and it is permanent. It stacks up to 300%. I don't really know why, because currently crit rate past 100% doesn't matter, but maybe it's future proofing. Maybe this means they're introducing some sort of effect where enemies have critical resistance. Who knows? But yeah, she gets the hat, she can burst right away. Just really cool. And yeah, nice burst. I like the little fish she rides on. And everything breaks. And now Izana has crit rate, so very cool. And because there's all these straw hats here for the tutorial, Izana will end up at 100% crit rate off of these. So, but obviously most battles aren't going to work out like this. These do replace red panels, but they're very good. When you can make use of them, they're just very, very, very good. So yeah, pretty excited for her as a character. And we'll get to the polls in a little bit, but before I do that, let us go to the event real quick and look at a couple things. And we will just skip through the initial story real quick. Wow, everyone got their swimsuits. Where's everyone else? Alright. So yeah, we have this like resort system. Kind of interesting. Can level up our beach, I guess. So go ahead and do that. Wow, we got an umbrella. Very cool. So, you know, kind of high effort event here. It has its own like currency for doing things, and yeah, we have the missions. We already looked at those. There's like a photo album. You can collect memories. And what is this? Oh, this is the shop. All right. So the shop has new items in it, and this is what I wanted to look at. You can see that these are a new color. We have these like pinkish items. These are new ultra rare rarity items, and I believe these are shop only. I don't think we can synthesize these. I might be wrong. We'll go check out the recipes after this. But yeah, let's look at them. So first off, we have this. This is a weapon made for Resna, and it's 14% break damage, and it gives stats for holiday characters. All allies get plus 5% magic attack, so that's a really, really good weapon just as a baseline, right? And then it comes with VV traits. So we have weakness break damage, which is a new trait, plus 25% break damage when attacking weakness. And we have another new trait, which is resistance down effectiveness for bolt resistance. So 30% increased effect of bolt resistance down debuffs. Very, very good that they've decided to start making these traits, because up until now, one of my biggest complaints about a lot of debuff characters is we have no way to scale them. So now that they're starting to make traits like these to scale those debuffs, we do have gear to make for those characters, which is very nice. Just more gear expressions, very good. And this item in general is just, it's really solid for Resna, right? It's not necessarily going to be her best in slot, maybe, if you need things other than these traits, but they are starting to give out VV gear in the event shops for the event characters, which is pretty useful. You don't have to synthesize new stuff for every new character, and this item is pretty good. Like, these traits are good, this effect is good, so very solid item there. Excited to pick that up. And then we have another one, which we can only assume is for Ryza. I think this one is actually a bit worse. Yeah, so this one has skill power up and the same resistance trait except for ice. And this will be a bit worse. I don't think scaling the resistance debuff off of Ryza is going to be better than, you know, more skill power or crit damage. So this weapon is probably not quite so good, because for an attacker, you really want like crit damage or something. But the weapon itself, very solid effect. Ice attacker, 14% skill damage, 95 magic attack. Kuken Island characters get 5% magic attack. Like, really solid weapon in general. It's not a bad level 10 weapon for ice characters. So, or for Ryza specifically, because none of them really have the resistance down, but I think in general you're going to get more damage out of having better traits, but it's not a bad starter. So this is also really good for like new players getting into the game, that they can get like a good item up front. It takes a long time to synthesize good gear, so, but yeah, that's pretty cool. We also have 1500 gems in the event shop, so that's nice. And it looks like I got a reward for leveling up my beach. I see. Coin, tickets, stuff for the score battles. Oh, that's interesting. So we can actually start from the final score battle now. I like that. Very good. And let's just go look through the materials real quick. Do any of them have the new traits? That's what I'm interested in. It's very possible that they do not. Oh, they do. Okay, so this one, the summertime uni, another uni. I guess they're going to make the unis the good items. This one has the weakness break damage, the weakness stun damage, and the bolt resistance down trait. So this one's obviously intended for Resna. And then we have fish and then a tree. This one has skill power ice resistance down. So they did make materials with the traits from the ultra rare weapons. So that's pretty cool. Pretty happy about that. Love to see more good materials, especially that uni is very nice for resna gear. If for some, well, so that you can obviously make like, you know, good armor and accessory as well, because they only give out the weapon, right? Then we have the recipes, and of course, yeah, they don't have the ultra rare items in them, so I believe those are shop only. I don't know if they'll ever introduce those for synthesis, but yeah, those are shop only. I guess I can go over the recipes real quick. We do have a weapon, Bolt Breaker, area attack, break damage plus 16%. I cannot imagine why you would ever use this for resna when the ultra rare one exists and is as good as it is. But if you do need like double stun damage traits, I guess like, yeah, right? There's reasons, but the ultra rare weapon existing obviously kind of diminishes the usefulness of this quite significantly because it is so good at a baseline. But if you need more stun damage, obviously like something like this helps, but scaling the resistance is always going to be good. Then we have armor for Bolt Breakers, plus 15% debuff effect. I can see this being pretty dang solid. It scales all the debuffs, so pretty nice. And then for the hat, we have for a Bolt Breaker, I don't actually... Is that buff effect? That's buff effect. Okay. And this one's good too because it scales the buff from her burst, so not bad items. They are more situational than useful, but not bad. And then for the weapon, when attacking weakness for ice, 17% skill damage, 95% magic attack. This is probably not better than the tower book, so I would kind of ignore that. Then we have a bikini for Ryza, and when your party uses an item, she gets 24% skill damage for 1 turn. Probably, I mean, 24% skill damage is pretty decent. Being tied to an item is fine, I guess, but I don't think I would really use this over Silver Thread or something that I already have made. Like, it's not super compelling to make it, but it's not bad either. 24% is a lot of skill damage for armor, so. And then the accessory, area skill damage 16% for ice attacker. This is pretty dang good for Ryza. This is probably pretty close to best in slot as an accessory. 16% skill damage unconditional on an accessory is quite a lot. So yeah, we got some pretty decent gear for them. Just at a glance, not bad at all. I guess one thing about the ultra rare item for Resna is that her burst doesn't actually have a resistance debuff on it, so that can be kind of awkward, and that's kind of a reason to not care about it. But yeah, there's some considerations there. Just kind of depends on how you're using her. Anyways, let's get to the pulls. We do have a daily, final daily for the Wilbell and Roman banner, I believe. I actually randomly got Wilbell like 2 days ago, which I was super happy about. I'm sure that luck will not repeat itself, but I already got what I wanted from this banner, so I'm pretty happy about this banner overall. And let's move on to summer. It's sad that we don't have dailies anymore, but we do have tickets in quite a few gems, so I will be pulling basically everything unless I get Resna early. I will stop if I get Resna, but let's just go ahead and hope we get lucky. Resna has generally liked me. I got Christmas Resna and Academy Resna, so without having to like spend or anything on JP, so hopefully she likes me again. But this one looks pretty dead. Not really seeing anything here. Oh, we got a barrel. Yeah, I don't know about this. Alright, a lot of SRs. Cool. Okay, next set of tickets. Just forget about that one and move on. Surely this time. Okay. Usually only Resna winking isn't a particularly good sign, but maybe. Come on. Alright, maybe not. My tickets have failed me once again, it looks like. Oh, there's Mari. Yeah, no fake out here. Alright. Ticket's still doing pretty bad. This one was worse than the last one. On to gems. It is unfortunate that we don't have daily pulls anymore. I would probably stop here if we still had dailies, but since we don't, can just all in on the first day. Which, you know, a little bit despair-inducing if we miss, but that's fine. We will have, at least we're getting tickets in a few days. I could wait for the tickets, but we'll just do our pulls now. That's fine. Alright. Yep. More nothing. Lots of Cordelias. Cool. Surely this time we'll at least get something. Alright, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Oh god. It's gonna be a fourth in a row with no SSR. Kinda looking like it. Kinda looking like it. At least a memoria or something. Or more Taos, that's fine too. Alright. Very cool. And last one, I guess. At least we still have another set of tickets coming. Yay. Oh, it's so dead. Do I even want to watch through this? It's not gonna fake out. Dang. Wow. Actually nothing. Not even a dupe of anything, just literally nothing. Yeah, that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough. Alright, well, maybe she'll come home on the tickets. I guess we'll see. But yeah, I hope you all are looking forward to the Atelier Summer event. This will probably be on Global in like October or something. You know, a little out of season, but that's fine, right? October, November or something, I don't know when. But maybe even December. I don't actually know how far behind Global is. Anyways, yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you all have better gacha luck than I do, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a good one. Bye-bye.